This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
This is Ag AM, and we're back with Darrel Peel.
Now, when did that really transfer and they become a major player?
It started growing, maybe 5 years ago, but really jumped in the last 2 years. African swine fever plays into that. Of course, now they've got a massive protein deficit,
right.
So they're trying to make it up with pork imports, beef imports, and poultry imports, and despite that, they're still going to have less meat to consume in the country. But really, it was already happening, so those are just kind of additional factors that play into it. The beef demand was really starting to take off before that. So, and again, they're such a big country that even though they don't eat a lot of beef per capita, but it doesn't take a lot of change in a country and a population that size to be a massive impact on a global scale.
Right, and just kind of going into that, who are some major players looking forward to 2020 in the beef industry?
Well, again, the major list of exporters hasn't changed too dramatically, although there are impacts. So
right.
Brazil's the biggest exporting country. They have shifted a lot of their product to China because of the growth there,
right.
which means there are other places that are not getting the same amount of product. Brazil's exports have grown. India is actually number 2 and has been for a number of years. Australia is typically number 3 in recent years, but of course they've had massive drought and wildfire impacts.
Right.
So their production is down and their exports are down and will be for the foreseeable future. So that's another thing that changes. And they've shifted a lot of their product exports to China.
Right.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
New Zealand is a major exporter. They are shipping a lot more of their product to China. Argentina, Uruguay, are all sending a lot of product to China. And so now the U.S. exports have grown pretty nicely really over the last few years. We were down a little bit last year, but over a 5-year period, our exports, but we don't export much to China. Only
right.
about 1.1% of our exports go to China at this point in time. And so that's where the real opportunity lies, I think, for the beef industry.
Right.
It would be to grow into that Chinese market.
Right. And so kind of wrapping up, what would you say as a final take-home message, what would you tell producers about the beef industry and the future of that?
Well, I think we have a lot of opportunity. Again, it's happening on a global scale. In general, there's a lot of potential for the beef industry. It's going to be in those global markets.
Right.
That's our greatest, potential for growth. But there's a lot of things go on. Those are specific products going to specific markets. They do have some impacts back in the U.S. Sometimes it's a challenge because those exports may be competitive, but a lot of times they're complementary. Right. So better export markets actually stimulates domestic demand, because if we can ship a product that has lower demand from the U.S. to somewhere else that it has higher value, then it doesn't detract from demand here in the U.S.
Right.
And so all of those things become very important when we're talking about trying to add value to our cattle, and that's the end result that producers are looking for.
Right. Well, a big thank you to Darrel Peel from Oklahoma State University for being on the program. I'm Brityne, and this has been Ag AM in Kansas.